And I think Shasta, you mentioned that she was pretty young too. I won't ask you your age.
You and I are around the same age. I think we discovered her like right at.
Yep, I just turned older than you by 1 year. So
I won't ask her.
Hey guys.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Chicks in Charge Automotive Edition. I am Jess.
I'm Shasta.
And we are the Chicks in Charge. And today we have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Brooklynne Morse, and she is with Scott Honda. And we are so excited to introduce you guys to her today.
Hi, Brooklynne.
Hi,
hello.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good.
We were talking a little bit before the show, and you have such an incredible story. We met like 2-3 weeks ago at an event in New Jersey, and immediately your story blew me away. Just how fast you excelled in your career, that you are one of only 2 female super techs for Honda in the United States, which is freaking awesome. Tell us a little bit about you and our listeners, because I'm willing to bet a lot of them don't know you yet, but we can't wait to introduce you to them.
Yeah, so my name is Brooklynne, and I originally grew up in Forney, New York. I made my way to PA when I decided to go to college at Penn Tech in Williamsport, and I started there in culinary. I did 1 semester of culinary and kind of decided that wasn't my route to go. They had a Honda program, a Ford program, some other automotive programs, and all of my friends in college loved cars. So they kind of routed me towards Honda. I figured I had a Honda, might as well go for it. And with the full support of my parents, I decided to get into the Honda program, the Honda PACT program. And 10 years later, master technician, 6 years later, master technician. And by the 7th year, I was a super tech. So
wow.
I'm on my 4th year of being a super tech.
Amazing. And you told us earlier that the Honda Super Techs, they are only valid for, did you say 3 years?
Yes.
Right?
So
yep.
So you're valid for 3 years.
Okay. So they're active for 3 years, and then they're no longer active anymore. And in the history of them doing this, only you and 1 other female have been awarded, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
That's amazing.
Wild. And yeah, absolutely amazing. But what's crazy is how few super techs that Honda has in the US. You said how many?
35. So there's only 35 open spots.
Wow. That's not even 1 for each state.
Right.
No.
That's awesome. What an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love it.
What would you say is the reason that more people don't make it to the super tech level?
So you have to be 100% trained and certified by American Honda. So after you hit master technician, you have to apply with your district parts and service manager. From there, they put in your application, and there's a interview process to make sure that your personality kind of suits the program, as well as knowledge. So there's an 11-question test that you have to take, and it has to be 75% or higher, and there's absolutely no curve on it.
Wow.
So they structure it around intelligence as well as good personalities.
Wow. So you said that you started out in culinary school and then you swapped over to the automotive sector. What was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome when making that jump?
Honestly, just learning about cars. At that point, even in high school, I had a lot of friends that loved cars. And I was just one of those girls that was like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. No idea. Absolutely no idea. I knew what a gas pedal was, what my brake pedal was. The furthest I could go is putting my spare tire on.
Wow.
So learning alone was a lot. I remember struggling in suspension class and engine, every single class. But it was very rewarding to graduate from the program, and they trained me so well.
Do you attribute any of your success that you've had to a mentor or anybody that has really helped guide you throughout your journey from schooling and throughout the automotive industry?
quite a few people have really helped me, and over the years I've definitely reached out to them and let them know how much they really defined my success, including my mom was a huge inspiration, being a chemical engineer for so many years and letting my dad retire early so he could spend time with family.
Wow.
And
That's impressive.
she's a phenomenal human being. But the mentor that I was with in my first dealership, his name's Steve Tubo. He really helped define my success, and both of my instructors, Joe Tavani and Chuck Prove, helped really define my success as well.
That's awesome.
So now at Scott Honda, you've transitioned out of the technician position and are now the assistant service manager.
Yes.
So you get to kind of oversee a little bit more of the operations on both sides, the customer facing side and then the vehicle facing side. What would you say, from your experience, seems to be the reason that a lot of females do not thrive in fixed ops?
There's a lot of struggles. I think some of it is can be stress related, which I think would just kind of fall with anybody. I think a lot of people can struggle with just having everything really feel like it weighs on you, which I know was a big problem for me, when just the huge jump alone between just working on cars and not being people facing to now being people facing, still kind of working on cars, being wherever I need to be. But I've always found it to be a struggle to kind of differentiate whether the problem is gender based or not. I always think that anyone can do whatever job they want to do. It just depends on the focus and how much they're driven to do it in general.
It seems like from what we hear, a lot of the times women will gravitate towards the position that they see other women in.
Yes.
And so we always want to highlight, when we see someone like you thriving in a position where you don't see a lot of women. I mean, I don't know that I can name more than 3 female service technicians that I've ever met in my 10 years of doing this. And so I think that just highlighting, good stories, people who have had really good success doing what you do and having the career that you've had will help be a light to the other young ladies coming up in the industry and, maybe having them pick that as a career choice.
Well, and I mean, so often women are told they can be a teacher, a doctor, they can be a lawyer, but even in the last 10, 12 years, we've seen more women come into car sales, but we still haven't seen the same in the service drive. And we have to get more women in the service drive as well. I think that's so important. And to your point that you said, I think it was before we started recording, you said, women are just more attentive to detail. Why wouldn't we want more women in our service departments?
Yeah, and the emotion that we put into everything that we do as well. And across the board, I think that women are better with empathy, sympathy, and just so good at connecting with everybody. My service advisors that are women do phenomenal jobs at that. But, you make a good point by saying that a lot of women just kind of father other women. So wherever you see that, you kind of gravitate. I think I've always just kind of been you can do that. I want to do something else. I don't want to fit the mold.
Right.
And you told us prior to or before we hopped on this call that you specialized in interior and electrical work in the service department. Tell us a little bit about what drove that decision and why you decided that you would rather go that route than working on the engines in other areas.
When I was in school, my teachers always told me that a lot of people like to always do the same thing. So you doing something different and standing out, especially where a lot of other people struggle, is going to be a huge asset and make you very hard to get rid of. So that was kind of most of my drive for it. And then lo and behold, I actually fell in love with it. Electrical is fun. It's different. It can always be confusing, and it's something new every day. And interior stuff, people see that every time they're in their car. So it's the little things. And then when you fix that and make that go away, the joy that it brings them always made me happy.
Right. For sure.
That's
for
awesome.
sure. I would be super frustrated if something that I actually see every day would break as opposed to something that maybe I don't see every day.
Right.
Yep. God forbid your phone doesn't connect to your car.
Yes. Oh my gosh, my sister-in-law had that issue and it about drove her crazy. Oh, yeah. She does so much driving.
Yeah.
Oh, that one stuck out to me super intensely.
Yep. So, and you had said earlier too, Brooklynne, that most people don't want to do the interior and electrical work. Why is that?
Electrical can be very difficult in general. I mean, there's still days that I struggle with it. Not as much now, but when I was still a technician, there were days where it could be just racking. The things that can go wrong electrical wise, if it's a loose ground and then it backfeeds through the system, and then you have all these other weird things that make no sense, like your wipers going off when your headlights are on. That's not connected, but it can be. So I always thought stuff like that was fun, and interior is. Well, just as I said, interior was just so much fun in general, and watching the whole car fall apart and come back together is just so cool to me.
Like doing a puzzle.
It very much is a puzzle.
If you could go back and do anything differently, would you?
I don't think so. I really genuinely don't. I'm so happy with where I come, and I don't think that there's any point in wanting to change or regret anything if you're happy with who you are today, no matter how hard it was at some point.
That's true.
There has been a shortage of techs for some time. What is your take on it, and do you foresee it getting any better in the near future?
I hope so. We definitely see the struggles with it. The amount of warranty work has increased from what we see, and it's gotten a lot more difficult, especially with BEV cars, full EVs coming into the picture. That's changed a lot. And now what we ask out of technicians is more. I think manufacturers are going to have to adapt. I think dealers are going to have to adapt and just be open to changing the old structure to a new structure.
Right.
Well, and I think that it's getting harder to find people who, I don't know how to put this kindly, but
want to work.
Well, no, went to college. Yeah, that too, but went to college. I mean, the blue collar jobs are definitely seeming to take hold of people. They're leaving and just going to trades, but and that works for a lower level technician. But once we get up in those higher level techs, we want them to be certified. We want them to have that experience. And it's not like we can just go grab somebody off the street that has that experience. Most of the time it's running from another dealership or another body shop, something along those lines that we're stealing from, because there's just not so many of them out there.
Yeah, we have done and are currently establishing a hopefully well-rounded training program. So we have a lot of, I think they call it VTC here. So students that are in like half day of school, half day of training for automotive. So they'll come to us for the other half of the day, and we will train them in our express department. So mainly oil changes. And we also have seasoned ATECs that we're going to start putting them with so that we can really kind of grow them from the ground up here.
That's what's needed. I think that, is it high school or like community college students?
A little bit of both. So they have different tiers of programs, to my knowledge, in this area. And some are high school students, some they actually pay for just an automotive career. So almost like a UTI, something like that. And then we'll have them as well come here for half a day and kind of grow them.
Right. I think that's something, I think our schools here locally did it. We have a little
Franklin Tech.
Yeah. Let's say technological college. That's just a lot of syllables. We have a tech center here that high school students could choose to do like half a day at, and they had a good nursing program. They had an automotive program. I think welding,
culinary.
Yeah, they had culinary too. Yeah. And so I think having something like that available in more schools is extremely important, because it will start to train them on that trade, so that whenever they graduate, they're ready to be 100% immersed in it.
Yeah, and I think that lays a great foundation, especially for trying to figure out what you want to do. So I did that for culinary 2 years, and then the 1 semester in college. And I, in that time, found out this isn't what I want. So that's a lot nicer than spending all the money on whatever you want to do, and then come to find out, this isn't for me.
Yeah, right. Do you still enjoy cooking, out of curiosity?
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of those people that hates cooking, and so I couldn't imagine, like, could get a benefit out of going to culinary school.
Culinary school would be good for you.
Maybe. I just don't like anything. That's my problem. I don't like anything. And so I'm like, I don't want to cook that. That looks disgusting. Even though you'll eat it, I won't.
I always liked making it look pretty. So it just kind of translated over. And I honestly, in a weird way, the culinary kind of helped me to where I am today, because I'm so OCD on where everything goes. This has to be in this one specific spot. My toolbox is extremely organized. The cars, when they left, looked identical. a lot more attention to detail.
Yep. Yeah, that would definitely help.
Do you think that your parents being engineers maybe subconsciously led you down the path to automotive?
Absolutely. Yes. In a roundabout way, I definitely think it did. It's my parents, both my grandfathers, my uncle, my aunt. Engineering runs in the family. My brother's taking on the same thing and fully supported. So I think that aspect and just kind of being what feels like mechanically driven in my head really helped lay a foundation for that.
Right.
For sure.
Wow. That is so cool. You just have such a neat story and you've come so far in such a short amount of time. And I think Shasta, you mentioned that she was pretty young too. I won't ask you your
age. You and I are around the same age, I think we discovered, or like right at.
Yep, I just turned older than you by 1 year. So
I won't ask her. No, I just think that's so cool because you are younger in the industry and you've come so far so fast. What is a piece of advice that, whether it be male or female, of anybody wanting to walk through the doors of a dealership today, whether it be for service or sales, what is one piece of advice that you would give them?
Just never give up. It's gonna get hard. Everything's gonna suck 100%, but find that little silver lining because no matter what, it's there. It might be dark now, it might be hard now, but there is that silver lining, and whatever your dream is, don't give up. I set my goal. I said, I'm going to get it by this day, and that's exactly what I did. That's why this is my 4th dealership. I wasn't getting sent to training as fast as I wanted to be. Then before I hit Master Tech, I found out about the Super Tech program, which only drew or increased my drive even more. So I hit that, and then the minute I got that, I sent a message to my district parts and service manager, hey, I want to get in this program, put me in. So I never stopped. Never stopped.
You make it seem so easy. Like telling your story, you're just like, yeah, I did this, and I just didn't give up. I just didn't stop. But there had to have been some challenges in there along the way. Can you talk about one or two of those challenges that you had and how you overcame it just to keep pushing through?
Yeah, honestly, so coworker wise, I rarely ever ran into problems with any sexism. There were some times where I had problems with customers not wanting to work with me, and that hurts. The way the program worked in my college, you're 8 weeks in, 8 weeks out. So the first 8 weeks you're in class, then the next 8 weeks you have to be in an internship. So those internships you're graded on. You have to do a report. They will send your teacher a message back. And my first internship, I couldn't get anybody. I put in 12 different applications. No one wanted me. No one wanted the girl that didn't know anything about cars. So, I mean, that hurt. So instead it was, okay, this gives me time to study and get ahead. So that's what I did every single day for however long every day. I would sit down and I would study and I would learn. I would get ahead in modules, do whatever I needed to do to make sure that I got to the next step. And then the next 3 internships I had somewhere to go. Every place was different, but I had somewhere. And then finally my last one was at a Honda dealer.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's that drive. Don't turn it off.
Right. Yeah. It's putting your nose down and hustling.
Mm-hmm.
Never taking no for an answer.
No, it's never an answer.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, there's always hardships, but that's what I did. Is this is what I need to do to get this done.
That's awesome. What do you think the future for techs look like?
I think it's going to end up being bright, to be completely honest. I'm not sure where everything's going to go. Flat rate has been hard for dealers. I think that's part of a turnoff. I know some dealers have gone away from it, but I can see that changing. Especially with full EV, with everything kind of turning away from oil changes, that being gone, it's going to be tires and brakes, tires like crazy, lots of brakes. But yeah. I see a lot changing in the years, so I think it'll end up being bright. But everyone needs a tech, everyone needs a mechanic, so yeah, it's never going away.
And dealers have a tendency to live in the Stone Age as far as keeping up with time. So, knowing ahead of time, you're going to need more tires and brakes than anything else because we're moving to an EV type of world. Right. Getting them to understand that and not just be on the same page that they've been on is going to take some time. Yeah. And I think a lot of people will revert that to, okay, well, tires and brakes are C-Tech work. No, that's not what you need. You need a lot of A-Techs because it's going to be diag because the world changes.
This is just like when the new models come out and everything breaks. Same with the phone.
Right.
When a new model phone comes out, everything breaks. So you need to really pay your ATEX to stay and pay them to want to work with however basis that is. But I think flat rate is not going to be it forever.
No, I agree. Well, if anybody has any questions for you and wants to learn more about your journey or how to even get started on the same path you did, what's the best way for someone to connect with you?
Oh man, I'm terrible with social media. Absolutely terrible. Probably LinkedIn, because I'm on that more than anything else, and just how terribly long my name is to spell. Getting a hold of me on LinkedIn is probably the best way to go about it.
All right. We'll make sure to have your LinkedIn linked in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Brooklynne,
that. I've tried to get back on Instagram, but I'm terrible with it.
I'm not an Instagram.
I'm not good at Instagram either. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn, and that's it.
Yeah, that's about it for me too.
Yep. Well, Brooklynne, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to chat with us today. This was super exciting, and I've been looking forward to it since Shasta kind of filled me in by appointment only after meeting you. So this is super exciting, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It's really been a pleasure.
Absolutely. It was our pleasure.
All right. Well, without further ado, I guess we will go ahead. Okay. In a world where you can be anything, be kind, because you never know what battles others are facing. So while out in the world this week, remember to light it up. I am Jess.
I'm Shasta.
And that's Brooklynne. And we've been the Chicks in Charge. Thanks for watching, guys. Yay, you've made it this far. And if you want to help the chicks out and add some value, make sure you subscribe right now.
Click that little red button down below. Do it. Do it now.